Musical Misfits. The music of Arcane, the amazing TV show. Let's take a look. Time to prove them all wrong once again. Yesterday you said it's tomorrow. Today is history.
At Riot, we've always loved music. In fact, in certain countries, people don't call us a game company. They call us a music company, and they say we're making games to do marketing for our music.
That's the Netherlands.
And so, obviously...
We say that. Does your country say that too?
When we dived into a TV show, we knew music was going to be a big part of it.
Music is obviously personal to Christian. It's personal to a lot of folks on that team.
I think Alex, you once said, when you go write a script, and I think it's the same thing with music, you know, when you go write a song and you sit down to do it and someone asks you, oh, are you gonna write a great song today? It's kind of like going, you know, maybe, you know, it's kind of like going fishing, he said.
Streaming is like that too. Streaming is like that too. You don't know if you're gonna do a good stream that day. Because, especially if you play multiplayer games, you don't know what the world is going to throw at you. So sometimes you finish the stream, you're like, that was a damn fine stream, best I've ever seen. And sometimes you're like, man, that really didn't go the way that I was hoping it would go.
I have experience to know where the best spots are.
Welcome to the playground.
I like the official version
Whether or not
more.
I'm actually going to catch one? We've worked on all kinds of genres at this point, and when Arcane came about, we said, hey, we're gonna craft a full album of all these different songs, of all these different genres. It really was the culmination of all the different skill sets that we've developed over the many years on the music team to craft something that's
I'm
really
gonna tell you
unparalleled.
guys which one was my favorite song.
It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.
Unpopular opinion, I think the song for Arcane by Imagine Dragons is horrible. I didn't like it that much at first, but since then, I've really started liking it. Part of that is the familiarity complex or syndrome, where if you hear something more and more, you start liking it more because it becomes familiar. But I actually like it now. At first I was like, it's a bit weird when he says, look out for yourself. I'm like, that feels a bit discordant with the rest of it, but I love Enemy now. It's really catchy. The first time I heard it, I wasn't sure about it, but I think from the third time onwards, I loved it. I don't know what that says for a song. If it is only good after the first time, then is it a good song or is it just a hook? I don't know. I don't know if that matters. Can it be like wine, where good music can be an acquired taste? Then it's a good radio song. It's a good score. It's kind of silly to say it's groundbreaking, never been done before. Of course, a lot of good popular music uses certain beats and a low amount of variation in the tones, like in the notes. And they use certain repetitive beats that gel really well with the human psyche. And then they become more of a hook. If you want to take a risk and you go outside of that, chances are people won't like it without even knowing why. Most music genre is acquired taste. Music is like wine and spirits. I love Imagine Dragons in general. I think they're really good. The lead singer has an amazing voice too. Very
Welcome
special.
to my studio in North Hollywood. This is where we make some of the music for Arcane. Follow me. So we were going for an incredibly messy aesthetic of gear everywhere. We don't invite people over. You're the first human beings I've seen or invited here in years. We prefer dark, no windows. I love this space so much. It's the first time I've been able to have like an actual piano. I've got the most important instrument of them all, obviously, the French horn here.
The French horn.
Everything I do is just French horn, and then I'll just auto-tune it to sound like other instruments. It's a cool trick that I learned in school. Just kidding, I'm way in debt for my college loans.
I feel like we just learned a lot about this guy.
Sad story.
Yeah.
What made Seabird really, really special is that he's not only extremely talented at writing melodies, for pop
But he also trauma dumps about all the problems he's having.
vocals, but also he's a classically trained musician. He went to Juilliard as a French horn player, and when that career failed, he became a really successful pop artist.
He'd make a good streamer too. Messy room, check. Doesn't meet people.
I've been working with Riot since about 2016.
Oversharing.
Each year for their Worlds event, the biggest esports tournament probably ever, we write an anthem for them, so like a big pop song. Legends Never Die was the first Worlds anthem that I wrote.
I love Legends Never Die. I think it is so good. It's such good energy. I think the vocals were done really nicely. Like, I love the whole track. It's so good. I love the theme of it, like the feel of it. Legends Never Die, obviously. The hook with League of Legends. Yeah, I think it's amazing. And it's great. He wrote it. Yeah. It's so good. I hate it somehow, really. I saw the girl. I don't know if it's fair to say this, but I saw the girl that performed it. The artist, the singer that performed it. I saw her live. It wasn't as good. I don't know why I'm prefacing that, because I feel in a way it matters. Humans generally prefer that if it's live, it's still really, really good. So I'm seeing it more as an overall production, that when her vocals get recorded and edited appropriately to fit the song, it's amazing. So I still think she's a really, really good artist, but obviously The Weeknd is also going to be worse live. But then you hear Ariana Grande live, and it's oh my God, it's still just as good as studio or better. So obviously not everyone can have Ariana Grande's talent, right? But I still think it's really good if you can make music with proper editing, that it sounds amazing. And I think that band and her singing is amazing for this song. The Weeknd is still really good live. Yeah, I think The Weeknd is really good live too. But I don't think his voice is as good in general, his range, as Ariana Grande. But I've been listening like mad to their Save Your Tears live performance. I've just been listening to it on repeat.
And about 2.5 years ago, Christian
Playground is so
reached out
good
and he's
too.
like, what do you think about Arcane? Do you want to get involved? And I was just like, oh yes, please, this would be the sickest.
I love Playground. It's sick. It has such a
We
cool
always
vibe.
wanted to make music part of the development from the very beginning, instead of just this post-production phase, that it often is in film and television.
The first time I heard about Arcane was pretty much a series of index cards stuck
Playground is kind of seductive. Like this song. That it has that vibe.
to the acoustic treatment in Christian's composing room. Technically, he was still a composer then, but he had the story that he wanted to tell, and he had ideas for who he wanted to help him tell it.
It invites you to the Undercity. Yeah, but I feel like it's also metaphoric of inviting someone to your Undercity. You know what I mean? Be careful with that sentence. Oh, the Playground is seductive. No, the song. No. I'm already ruined. Yesterday I said I generally like cannibalism. But you pause a bit too much. No, I need to do these reacts in my own style. If you think I pause too much, just watch the original. I'm not saying I want you to leave. I understand what you're saying, but I've thought about my react style, and you're just gonna get the authentic me. And maybe if you were my friend and you'd sit next to me, you're like, stop freaking pausing the show. And I get it. I've said that to people before. But if I have something to say, I better say it.
Music on Arcane started with Alex Temple, who is just an incredible composer.
But
But
at that
thanks for
point, I hadn't done
distracting.
the longer form there.
Thanks for distracting from the potentially problematic clip. Have you seen Evelyn KDA music? I turned it on, and then I respectfully looked away. Kai Delight. Good music, very nice music. I wonder what it looks like, but I respectfully didn't look.
Of work. I've done shorter form narrative, whether it's like a 3 to 5 minute trailer or things like that, but nothing approaching the scope of Arcane.
There was music.
Can you show me what this is?
So this is a gudgeon. I might be pronouncing it slightly incorrectly, but yeah, normally it's played. It has a
By the way, Grubby, do you know how Riot is making money off Arcane? I don't see people playing League because they like the TV show. Actually, I'm playing League partially because of the TV show. I was a fan of Riot's lore because of Arcane. Because I kind of deliberately did not consume any League of Legends because they are the enemy. The enemy, right? Because they're not Heroes of the Storm, and they're the other MOBA, and I thought it's like a toxic community, and I've since turned around on that a bit. Now I know it's Dota 2 is toxic. But yeah, I think Arcane was a major PR boost for me to consider allowing League to be on my playlist in terms of games. So yeah, it is a promotion for the game, I think. And also, how does any show make money? So the way that Netflix makes money is Netflix obviously gets the subscriber money, but how does Netflix value the shows that are being watched when you don't have to pay individually for each show? Well, they've got very advanced telemetry, and they've actually shown their methods on how they value shows. And apparently, they value first-time watching of shows that have not been on Netflix before far more than repeated watching. So if you are someone that watches 10 seasons of Friends or Suits or whatever, that 10th season watch time is not as valuable as a new subscriber that watches Friends for the first time. Because then they think, oh, okay, you got Netflix because you were looking for Friends. So that watch time is worth more. If you're watching a 10th season, they're thinking like, we've already got you, right? We're not going to get new subs via keeping Friends episodes coming. Let's say if it was still being released, by keep making that. If we extend the season to 11th season, we still already got you. We already got you. You're like a mainstay. This is why sometimes shows get canceled, because Netflix always looks at the new stuff attracting new subscribers. Not true? Yeah, I think it is true. I think it is true. Did they get new subs by GOT Season 8? I don't know. I don't know. But I think it is true. I've seen it. I've seen it. You can look it up yourself too, of course. But yeah, they value new shows bringing new people. So I think Arcane will have brought in many people to Netflix. And their Riot will have been paid by Netflix accordingly, probably. And yeah, for the rest, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they make money with Arcane for the rest. There must be more than just the Netflix route, right? But that is not something I specialize in at all.
the pentatonic scale, and you can affect the pitch by, bending over here. I've been using it completely incorrectly, playing the back side of the instrument. Or even sort of playing it with this singing bowl mallet.
For the first few months, at least, we actually stayed away from any picture material from the show, and we just explored themes in isolation for every character.
I think when working on a theme,
Didn't
you
want
want
to be
something that
influenced.
clearly makes a statement about who this character is, but you also want something that's adaptable. So this is the beginning of episode 3. We have this vocal melody that comes in. So for example, we have this character Silco. He's kind of one of the villains of the show. He's a complex character. He has good reasons for some of his motives, but he's sort of a villain. The music that I ended up writing for him is not sort of villainous at all. It's very sort of welcoming and kind of seductive in a way. So sometimes when we use these sort of motifs, they come back in kind of subtle ways. Kind of very confused, distorted version of that melody we heard performed so beautifully by the soprano in the other cue.
We really wanted to have just melodies, you know, for characters. Like, really, like you should feel like you remember this character in this moment when you hear this melody. They're always there, but sometimes they're darker, sometimes they're brighter, sometimes they're faster, but they're always there.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, yeah.
Alex Temple, the lead composer, he's just such a god-tier orchestra composer, like to a level I can't get to.
First violins at bar 13 can play that out a little more.
Okay.
Thanks. One more for luck, and then we'll move on.
Wow.
It's funny because I was a
Wow.
French horn player growing up, and so I listened to just all this mall.
I think I'm most passionate about this episode so far. I feel like I'm more of an audiophile than a visuophile. I think music is more important for me in shows and games than visuals.
and like Bruckner and all these people, and so I thought I was obsessed with it, and then I'd talk Mahler with him, and he's just like, oh, the specific recording of George Schulte from 1975, I prefer the third movement versus the Bernstein recording. And you're like, okay, all right, you win the nerd contest.
I played the piano for 6 years.
So Ray Chen is a phenomenal violinist. You never know quite what it's going to be like working with, somebody who's at the top of their field.
Ray plays as a soloist with the Los Angeles Philharmonic, the big orchestras in Europe, London.
If he's playing as a soloist, then how can he play with the Philharmonic?
He's probably the first classical violinist who plays on like a $20 million Stradivarius to an animated series.
Oh, okay.
He's got a lot of patience. A lot of the time, the music I put in front of him.
Does he play his solo and then leaves before the rest starts?
It's written because we know he can play it.
Get him!
Nice. I don't know about that.
He broke it.
That was horrible. My God.
Yes, who was the composer who composed it?
We're approaching the finale of the first season. It's getting very dramatic for all of our
Wait, can people compose things that they can then not play? Is that possible, to compose things that you can't play? Yes? Then how do they test it? How can they hear it? Google Rush E. I know about Rush E. Rush E is the composition that couldn't be played by anyone. And yet it exists, the composition, therefore it was made without being able to be played. But then eventually some people actually can play it. So they do it in their heads. They hear it in their head. They have a big head. Oh, that's what that is like. Oh, I see. I have a big skull, but not blessed with the similar expansion inside of it.
characters. This is a cue that's based on the theme of the character Victor. This is around the time when he pushes his body and the transformation further and further, and kind of gets seduced in a way by this hex core, and starts to kind of lose parts of his humanity. And there's kind of like a terrible beauty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like starting to play MOBAs like League of Legends or Dota. You get seduced by it and then you lose part of your humanity. I get it.
And it's a really tragic moment, but it's also kind of a tragic ascendancy because it's like It's not a good thing that's happening.
No.
But at the same time, this is kind of like a
Yes.
leveling up of the character. This is an important stage of his development.
Yes.
I've been doing orchestra stuff with Alex Temple for about 2.5 years. And it was only about a year ago that we were like, let's do a 11, 12 song pop soundtrack to go with the show.
There's a girl in town and words gonna rhyme. She's just
I don't remember this.
We knew that we also wanted to create these special moments in every episode with music. And so with the editors and the directors of our team, we tried to find a moment where the music can actually take over and be in the spotlight.
End of episode 2. Oh, I see. Funky.
I declare war on anybody standing in the way of what I dreamed for. How could you ignore?
Working on Arcane, the pressure is pretty high. All these great, amazing artists, and the story is amazing, and the animation is amazing, the score is amazing, the sound is great, the music has to be good too, the songs have to be good.
Sebastian is like ultimate homie for me.
Don't play with the misfits.
We did Rise together, did Awaken together. I cannot wait to work with him any chance I get.
Sebastian is
then.
this interesting character. I remember in his interview, we always asked him, like, what kind of song would you make for this character, for that moment? And he would always just go, I don't know. And so we were like, we don't know if he's the right guy for the job. And then you just start hearing the songs, and all of a sudden you're just blown away. He's the kind of person that just
He's a shower, not a talker.
does, but doesn't talk about it. We call these the banger labs. Or all
Wait, what?
the bangers are made.
Yeah.
Well, we heard there's some music going on.
So I had already worked on cinematics for Riot and music videos and things like that. But Arcane, the extra difficulty was that, the purpose of the song is for a scene, is for the story.
Who told you it was down here?
This is so
Unlike
good. this
other
song.
movies and shows that might have just like a standalone incidental soundtrack of pop artists, we actually wrote these to picture the way that you would score something.
Seen your face around here. Come along, tell me under the table. What do you see?
I know for Sebastian and myself, it was like really difficult to figure out that language where we're getting things to feel like a song, but also getting them to dodge between dialogue or hit peak moments to picture, which might not be happening at a set tempo.
Don't remember this one.
I think so much in what we do with the songs, you can kind of find parts of the world as well. Like Zon, this underground world where a lot of things kind of get repurposed, reused, mangled, distorted. That's what the drums kind of also tell me. Where I feel like, okay, if Jinx would design a kick drum, what would it sound like?
When we worked with B. Miller, she had recorded some really amazing...
2021.
When we worked with B. Miller, she had recorded some really amazing improvisations. Like this for example, is... She totally understood the vibe of what we were trying to convey, descending into Zon, and it just was perfect.
So
My
cool.
dream was that we could kind of write the songs early enough so we can even still edit, sequences and boards to the music. I think what we found pretty fast is that we would have this issue that we would approach all these artists and we'd say, we want to make music with you, make these songs. And they'd say, oh, cool, that's awesome. When do they go out? And we would tell them in 2 years. And they would go, oh, never mind. So what we did instead is to actually write the songs ourselves and then bring on the artist to kind of either just sing it or find their version of it.
What's the problem? What's the problem with 2-year release? Surely it's not just delayed satisfaction of hearing how people react to your song. I'm assuming. Do they get some kind of royalty and are therefore also experiencing delayed royalties? Yeah, maybe that's it, right? Because I would think that an artist, like a singer, is going to get paid for when they do it. Straight up, flat, and then maybe a royalties? 2 years of back and forth. I'm assuming money up front and royalties later. That's my assumption. Of course, they can do anything. They could do it anyway. Maybe it's just like a lump sum. Or a partial, or even if it is lump sum, it could be partial compensation first and then payment if it actually gets used in the show. Because you could record it, you could get paid for your work, but you don't get paid for the rights to show it yet because they may not actually end up using it if they change direction. I'm deliberately not focusing on the publicity and the visibility and the satisfaction of seeing it. Just the actual rights for it being paid. Probably, not talking about exposure now. I don't think they refuse just because of exposure, because you're stupid if you don't work on Arcane, no? Because you're at least familiar that Riot is big. So you think if they're doing a show, that's probably going to be big too. I would imagine for exposure, you would want to do it either way, even if there's a delay. But I think maybe there's... I could imagine, let's say if I did some promotional video for a game company, and they say they're going to release it in a year, and then they will pay me X amount to do the work, and the other amount is going to be for being allowed to use my name to promote the game, and for being allowed to use my name to to show the content that I did with them. And that's going to be segmented differently. So I think that's why the artists are hesitant about it.
And then bring on the artist to kind of either just sing it or find their version of it.
Stupid for not working on a video game TV show at that point in time. It sounds smart. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. What's the percentage of successful video game adaptations into TV shows? Less than 10%. And by successful, I mean revered or appreciated. Probably less than 10%. Okay, fair enough. Would you stop streaming for a month to get a huge spike in 2 years? Oh, you think it looks bad on their resume that they didn't do anything for a while and then cannot have anything to show for the absence, the gap in their output until years later? That might also be true. Manic Drake.
Wherever you are, light it up, and I'll find you.
Funny.
I heard they asked Will Smith to do Arcane, but he didn't end up doing it, so Keanu Reeves did it instead.
Enough. We didn't even initially think about Woodkid for this song. We had him for a different one, and he happened to hear this demo and went, oh, let me do that one instead.
Oh no, that was The Matrix.
And it was the greatest thing that could have ever happened. This was like sort of an action-y piece when I had first written it, and then he turned it into the most chill-inducing string thing I've ever heard. But yeah, so it always just starts here, and then you never quite know what it's gonna end up being.
The other big one was the Jinx Echo fight in episode 7. Got that vibe figured out, and then for the vocalist, the rapper, we're like, okay, we have some ideas of who could be super cool. Like, okay, let's see what can, let's send the track to them and see do they want to do it, and also, are they going to do something that fits? Denzel Curry was one of them.
In this Gothic underground city, we all sin. If I bring a couple rounds with me, then we all win.
Jizzle was another one.
Just might kick your butt, go run amok, then paint my nails. Never learned to raise my hand, was too busy raising hell.
Didn't like both of those two so far.
And Brenjo, he sent us a demo that was kind of, sounded like a female vocal. I was like, oh, that's a really cool, catchy kind of chorus part. Turns out it was him just pitched up.
Oh yeah, he mad, I'm racking up white diamonds. Throw me in the sky, you would swear the sun shining.
All three sent us really awesome stuff. So we got 3 demos, like, oh my god, like, what can we do? A little bit of a challenge just from having
all of
so
them
much
are in the song.
material.
Oh.
How do we make it in? How do we make 3 songs into one song? Let's try to use all 3.
Oh.
In this Gothic underground city, we all sin. If I bring a couple rounds with me, then we all win.
Oh, it sounds a lot better now. Now it sounds good.
I came back and brought the crown with me.
That was one cool and challenging thing about working on Arcane songs is you get these puzzles. that you have to solve.
Raise my hand, was too busy raising hell. Everything I know I am. You should go and save yourself. Thought you had my number, huh? Congratulations, played yourself.
Season 1, everything we did for music was kind of happening then, like, after.
Yeah, that was the tip-off Excalibur.
Episodes were already done, and so now if we do it early enough,
They wouldn't use clips of samples from artists that they never ended up using because they would have to pay for that. And if they don't, legal implications. That was kind of the tip-off that they did end up using all three. But I was deliberately suspending that part of... I didn't want to game the system. So I was like, I don't know if they used any of these.
we would have the ability for the artists to just kind of write whatever they want, and then we can cut the episodes to it. I think it was such a limitation for the writing musicians, you know?
Working with Christian is pretty special because he's a musician. That's also another great thing about him is that he's not going to waste time. If it's not great, he'll tell you. He'll tell you right away, yeah, it's not working.
Can you play the 57, just solo it real quick? I just want to hear it because I don't know if the orchestra always makes me feel like it's more convoluted than what it actually is.
Christian started his career at Riot in an entry-level position, answering tickets when players have a problem, whether it's a technical problem or billing problems. Then only a couple years later, he started to write some music, and only then we realized, oh my God, this guy is an amazing talent.
Christian, the first time I met him, he came onto campus, very quiet, very unassuming, other than, of course, the neck tattoo. And I'm like, so, tell me, what jobs have you worked? What have you done prior to coming here? And he's like, oh, well, I did some music. I was in a band. I traveled around Europe doing some tour kind of stuff. I was like, don't care. How well will you serve the players? It took me a little while to realize that he was, in fact, a big deal. I believe he told me the biggest audience he played in front of was like 100,000 people.
Christian's a freak because he gives us feedback like, no, the cello needs to be an octave lower and it needs to be this dynamic. Like, he just knows how to speak music. That's my favorite Christian.
I didn't know this too.
Feedback. When I released my album, I had one song that I was like super into, and I'm still really happy with it, but I just remember Christian was like, and Christian liked it when I was working on it, and then he heard the final, he's like, it sounds unfinished.
You gotta break them before we can build them up.
Yeah, we're all so
broken. Like
established dependence.
He goes to give us high fives and we flinch.
Right.
We're all so broken.
Ready?
It's going.
Sounds like a typical MOBA player. Like, good job, guys. High five. It's like, no need to be sarcastic. It's like, no, I mean it. Oh, thank you.
It's just the episode 8 track where we're just gonna have to pivot. It's the last song we had to come up with, and this one was
the hardest one.
Yeah, really.
The concept was
ambitious.
Ambitious and hard to execute.
Oh, it was freaking cool.
When you kind of go into it knowing, like, by the way, this is the big champion moment for Vi and for Jace, and this needs to be great, and you're gonna question every choice you make because it's like, but is it great? And so it's also just expectations are always really high. So this is a bit of a Hail Mary just to kind of say, hey, we couldn't really figure it out, and so someone had recommended Paris, just because she has a really cool sound, and then we just kind of went, maybe we should just let her do her thing. So this is like a demo they send over, and yeah, we're just kind of opening it up for the first time.
This is good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Feels like Vi. Feels right.
Her voice just feels like kind of something that Vi would. The attitude's really, really fun. She even has like the shaved side, and then like the nose ring. I was like, she kind of is Vi.
Dan from Imagine Dragons, and this is
Oh my God,
our
it's Dan!
studio. This is where we did Enemy. So I'll take you on back. Well, hello.
Oh, hello there.
This is Daniel Platzman, our drummer.
How's it going?
Ben McKee, a bass player.
Oh, fancy meeting you here.
And Wayne Sermon, the guitarist. And this wasn't planned at all. I can't believe you guys are in here at this exact time.
What are you doing here? I just felt like I needed to be here.
Vi is actually the player that I play on League of Legends, so I definitely associated with it. And
that was the question I had. Like,
yeah.
Do all of you play or some of you?
The three of us play. So Platzman plays. Ben's a more old school gamer.
Did you try League?
I have tried League.
Come on. I wish we could skip the part where we pretend to play games where we don't play just because our one-time employer or sometimes employer would seem to be offended if you don't play. Like, it's so much better when you're just honest. Imagine, they do actually play. Okay, but like, look, if someone asks if you play, just say yes or no. Be like, well, I haven't played recently, but I have installed the game before. They work with Riot because they like the game. Right. To me, it sounds like he is trying to present it differently than what it is.
Gamer.
Did you try League?
I have tried League. It is... I am a simple man.
That's pretty...
Oh, he's definitely looking.
We have definitely been late on stage in front of, I don't know, tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people because we were finishing a ranked League of Legends game.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to get banned.
What? Wait, how old is he? Dan, Imagine Dragons, age. He's younger than me. Okay. I could see him play League. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love Riot. We've worked with them for a long time, and we've been a part of the community for years. And I love Christian. We vibed out. He told me about what he'd been working on. He showed me a lot of slides and storyboard. At that time, it was in the very early stages of Arcane. But it was enough that I understood the dynamic at play with, the sisters and Vi and Jin.
I always think it's a bit weird when someone that looks like him is younger than me, because I feel kind of like, I kind of feel like a boy playing games, and he looks like a man.
Jinx.
What makes you different makes you strong.
As far as Enemy goes, I think there's a lot of times in people's lives where you just feel like alone, or you feel isolated. And that song is written in isolation and feeling kind of you against the world. Searching to be home, stories in a tone, when my back was to the world, smiling when I turned. Tell you you're the greatest.
His voice is actually so good. If you've ever tried to sing one of his songs, I tried and failed. I tried to do like a cover of one of their songs. You realize most of their songs have really simple beats and hooks. It's really good, but it is relatively uncomplex music, seemingly. It's his voice that makes everything special. You put a normal voice on it, it sounds boring. You put his voice on it, with his range, he's got really big range, it transforms it into, in my opinion, I'm a big fan of the band and of his voice. It transforms it into something really special.
But once you turn, they hate us. No way, I swear I'll never be the same.
I mean, it goes without saying, like, the last scene of...
The scene was cringe. Well, it was a weird outro, right? It was a weird outro.
Season 1 is probably going to be an
Or do you mean the scene that's coming up? What are we talking about? This scene? You mean the way that this song ended, or what's coming up? No, I mean, it's a weird outro to them here, the way he looked. I don't know what this meant, but You guys are talking about the scene in Arcane with the band. Oh, okay.
My enemy.
I don't remember that scene well enough to comment. The cameo in the show. Oh, okay. I think it's okay.
I mean, it goes without saying, like, the last scene of season 1 is probably going to be an important scene. And it was this beautiful montage, and they had temped it up with this, like, stunning David Bowie song. And they're like, you know, Alex, could you write us a song that fills this moment? And you're like, sure, I'm going to have a panic attack first. I'm going to go see my therapist, and then as soon as I center myself, try and write a song that lives up to that moment.
Yeah, I did piano for 6 years, Mazeria. But I'm not like good or anything.
So here's some of the initial stems that I had done. It was just like a piano and my own vocal.
I don't play anymore now.
I am the monster you created. You ripped out all my parts.
The way it starts is just like a person just like lamenting. I mean, it was really Jinx's voice in this song. The lyrics for that one came quickly. The difficulty with that was writing a song that's structured proper.
Sting actually ends up performing it. I thought that was really good. But that's just this guy? I feel like that was really good. I'm curious now whether I'll like this one more or the Sting version.
Quickly, the difficulty with that was writing a song that's structured properly.
It was so emotional.
Because Jinx fires this rocket at first, which is like a beautiful moment as it soars across the sky. And I wasn't at the point in the song that something that big was supposed to happen yet. So we had to like figure out how to write almost like a bridge section that is this rocket blast moment before we get back to the second verse and before we continue the song. Christian would give us feedback and we'd kind of hit our stride, and then it would be like, okay, which artists do we want to have sing this?
I am your ghost, a fallen angel. You ripped out all my parts.
Sting was at the top of our list. I mean, it's pretty convenient to be like, oh, we'd love to have Sting. Like, oh yeah, would you? But we had him there, and we were able to talk to him about it and get him into it and show him the sequence, and he was just really generous, and it did exactly what we had hoped, which is just elevate it into this moment that
Also
is
really
kind
good.
of above everything else. Like when you hear Sting's voice enter, you're just like, is that Sting?
Like you hurt me today. I don't want you to lose like I lose when I play. What could have been?
You know, it's funny because you work on these moments for so long until you actually, like, you think, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. But you just don't quite know until you actually see everything done. And you just have that feeling for like 2 or 3 years where you go, I think it's going to be amazing, but I'm not quite sure. And you just kind of have to wait because you just, you know, does the music come together? Does it have that kind of magical touch? You know, like, does the storytelling come together? Does the acting kind of come together?
We're bleeding money, and for what? His dreams of rebellion. He's losing control.
I'm curious to see how it will go when this show hits all the platforms so people can watch it and it's released, and how it'll go for our League audience, you know, and also kind of like the general audience. Our League audience, they will certainly tell us how they feel. It changes the emotion, but all I really hear is just the... It's pretty scary to know that you're working on something that really cannot fail, you know, like that's not an option. And so it just makes you question everything.
This was my favorite ep so far, but they're all really good. One more episode. Next time. Next time, guys. This is so interesting to see. I didn't even know Sting was in Arcane. That he sang Arcane. Could you share the link? Yeah, of course.